Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. I'm so excited to see you guys back here with me in the kitchen one more time. So friends, today we are going to be making a stew-ish kind of hybrid dinner. So it is deer season. Hunting is going on all over the place. My father and all of the men in the family are really big into hunting. I mean, my mom does too. She's one heck of a shot. But that means deer meat. So much deer meat. Deer meat, everything. You have deer chili, deer burger, deer sausage, deer stew. What else can I come up with? I mean, there's deer everything. Everything. Meatloaf, deer meatloaf. Let's not forget the meatloaf. But today, I decided I'm gonna do a spin on the deer meat thing. Yup. So, have you guys ever had Osso Bucco? Oh, it's so delicious. If you've never had it, you have to try it. What it is essentially the shank, so the leg portion of pig, cow, veal, any of them, that has been sliced into like steaks with the bone in the center. And you will sear that and you will braise it, and it takes hours and it's so delicious. But here's the deal, right? I don't have deer shanks right now because my father loves that for a completely different dish that he makes that, you know, he created on his own. So he wouldn't give me the deer shank, and I had to get creative. So what I did is I took the neck portion of the venison, right? Usually that gets cleaned up and it is ground for ground venison, at least the way that we've always processed it in the past few years. And I started thinking to myself while we were sitting there cleaning this meat together as a family for the first time this year, and I'm looking at it thinking to myself, essentially this is like oxtail. It's just the other end, right? you know, it's the same part of the animal, just one end versus the other. I don't know how to say that without laughing. Anyways, so I discovered a bandsaw that my grandfather had put away, and it hadn't been used in years, and we were like, we're gonna see if this thing works. So my husband and I took the bandsaw, took the neck of the deer that we were supposed to be cleaning, and we ran it through the bandsaw. First off, the bandsaw works, which was amazing. The problem was the meat was not frozen. You typically want the meat to be frozen when you're gonna run it through a bandsaw. But since we were just testing it out, the meat wasn't frozen, and it's a little bit ugly. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's not the prettiest slices of neck bone you've seen. I'm gonna take that one, but I decided I can either turn this into an oxtail sort of dinner, or I can make it like an osso bucco, because it comes down to the same thing. That bone in the center surrounded by the meat that gets braised and cooked out. So I'm calling it the New Age Hunter Stew. We're gonna make deer neck osso bucco style. Let's see how this turns out. All right, people, so here we go. These are the two neck bones that I have, and you see there's your spine right there. Backbone. There's your backbone right there. And then look at all of this amazing meat. It's crazy. Now, these are a lot thicker than I would want them to be, but it's plenty of food for all of us. We're gonna get on that. I'm gonna season them completely with a good amount of salt and pepper. It's gonna shake a lot of this off in the pan, so you want to be really liberal with it. Okay. And while it's still on this side, we're gonna hit it with a little bit of flour. Just a little bit. Not like a crazy amount of flour. Now the other side. Oh, she's gonna be so pretty. Okay. See all that flour? Like, why did you put flour? Flour is gonna help it brown and create a roux. All right, so we have a braising pan. If you don't know what a braising pan is, it's got a thick side, but it's not a stock pot and it's not a Dutch oven. It's kind of like a cross between a Dutch oven and a saute pan. Got together, they had this beautiful braising baby, and it comes with a lid. So we are going to get this started with bacon grease. You need to keep your bacon grease. It's delicious. You already paid for it. Keep your bacon grease. I mean, it's bacon grease. It's flavor, people. I'm gonna add in a couple of tablespoons of this morning's bacon grease. Yeah, it's got little bits in there. I call that flavor. Make sure it's coating the whole pan. Perfect. Getting nice and hot. We want a good sear on the outside of this meat. In the meantime, while it's heating up, I'm just spreading the flour around, making sure it's everywhere. Here we go. All right, kids, so we've got this all mostly brown. And you're thinking, oh, she's burning it. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Okay. To this pot, we're going to add a tiny little bit of olive oil. You can add more bacon grease, but we're trying to be healthy, sort of, a little bit, maybe. And in here, I'm going in with an onion, 2 carrots, and 3 celery stalks, all diced into a small dice. Get in there. Okay. Hit it with some salt. And some pepper. All right, friends, so once this starts to sweat down, and can you guess why we call it sweating? It's sweating because as you're cooking and applying heat to your vegetables, they start to release their juiciness. Sweating. Okay, so once you get these guys sweating and they're nice and the onions and the celery are starting to get a little translucent, the carrots are getting a little bit softer, I'm going to put in there about a tablespoon of onion powder. Yes, that is a good amount. Flavor, y'all. We want flavor. About the same of garlic powder. You're looking at about that much. About a tablespoon of Italian seasoning. The next thing we're going to add is beef bouillon. So, again, about a tablespoon. We're gonna let those cook in this pan for just a minute, and then I'm gonna add about 2 small pucks of tomato paste. Now, if you don't know how I preserve my tomato paste, I'm gonna show you real fast. I buy really large cans of tomato paste, and then I put it into Ziploc bags, and I spread it out into a sheet and freeze it. So then you just have to pop off a piece, you have your tomato paste. We're just gonna stir that in, let that tomato paste melt in there and toast up. That tomato paste needs to come back to life. It's been in the freezer for a second, and it's gonna melt very, very quickly. It's not gonna take long at all, but we wanna make sure that we caramelize that tomato paste when we put it in. You're not just gonna pop it in and then add liquid to it. You need to wake it up. That's the way I think about it. Like, come on, hello, wake up. So friends, once we've got it to this stage, that tomato paste is kind of melted in with all those vegetables, it's toasting, it's all starting to come together, we are gonna add red wine. About a cup of red wine. Now you can absolutely leave this out and completely eliminate the red wine if you don't want to use it. Make sure, and this is not to be funny, make sure that you taste this before putting it into this, because once you put it in here, the flavor concentrates. So you need to like the flavor of the wine. That's why I say if you don't want to use it, leave it out. You can just add a little extra beef stock to it, no problem whatsoever. So we're gonna add a little bit of this. That tastes great. We're gonna add this in. Yes, I poured it from the same cup that I was drinking out of. Everyone that's gonna eat this lives in this house. When I say it's home cooked, that means I tasted it. Okay, so here we go, stirring it in. You see that rich color that it's giving? That comes from the time that we took to caramelize the vegetables, to caramelize that tomato paste, the wine, everything coming together is giving this deep, dark richness to it. Right there. Oh my gosh, it's gonna be beautiful. It smells so good. Oh my gosh. And this is a good time to go around with your wooden spoon and just kind of scrape at the bottom, get any bits from searing the venison, I was gonna call it beef, off the bottom. There we go, just like that. Okay, we're gonna add a cup of water. Let that come up to a simmer. Okay, now that we're simmering, we're gonna add the meat back in, nestle it, make sure it's in there real well. I'm gonna add another cup of water, but just keeping an eye on it. I don't want to flood this. I just want it to come up halfway up the meat. Okay. So that's where we're at right now. Okay, y'all, so I've had it on the stove simmering for a few minutes while the oven preheats. I have it preheating to 300 degrees, and it's not quite there yet, but we're really close. So what I want to do here is very carefully take this meat and flip it over. So that everybody gets a little bit of that sauce on there for now. Now I'm gonna do that again halfway through the cook, just to make sure all the meat is nice and tender. We're gonna cover this up. I'm gonna turn off the stove here, and we're gonna pop this into the oven. Don't judge my dirty oven. I haven't cleaned it. I will clean it, but right now is not the time. Yeah. It's not that bad. Okay, I'm gonna check on that in 1 hour. All right, friends, so we've had this in here for an hour. Let's take a peek. Oh, that looks good. Oh my goodness. Okay. Let's flip that over. And cover it again. And then put it back in there for another hour. So now that it's been in there for another hour, so that's 2 hours total, we're going to remove the lid and I'm going to reduce the temperature to 250 and we're going to let it cook for another hour.
Friends, this meal can absolutely be made in a crock pot. You would just have to go through the process of searing the meat and the vegetables and pouring it all into your crock pot, setting it for 4 hours on high if you want to eat a little earlier, or 8 hours on low if you're going to go to work, and let it stew all day, and it's going to be delicious. This was so good. My family absolutely loved it, and I absolutely recommend it. You can make it with beef, you can make it with veal, you can make it with pork if you don't have access to venison meat. I totally get it. But if you're a hunter and you don't know what else to do with the meat because you've been eating the same stuff over and over again, this is absolutely the way to go. It broke down and it was so tender and so delicious. I know we're going to be doing this more than once. I totally called my dad and said we're keeping the neck every time from now on because this is going to be amazingly delicious. You guys, thank you so much for joining. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Don't forget to like and subscribe and take care of yourselves and each other. Bye, guys.